I normally do an unboxing, but I already had this pre-existing in my collection. It's an 8.5 Infinity ink, number 14, first published art by Todd McFarlane. And the only thing it really has going against it is this corner over here. It's like a crunch on both sides. I don't know if it's going to show up. The only issue is there might be a little bit of color break associated with that crunch. It's hard to tell, so that could cap us. But I think we can certainly fix that big giant crunch. But yeah, I definitely think we can improve on the 8.5. I think based, even if there's a little color break there, I think we can still get 9.2, possibly 9.4. Well, we'll just have to see. We might get surprised on what we see. But everything else on this book looks pretty flawless. And that's the reason I bought it. And yeah, it's a little bit of a gamble. Didn't know if there was color break there, but could be still. I'm not sure. Sometimes you could think there is some, and it just disappears once you clean and press it. So yeah, this should be an easy one. Just basically all we're doing is fixing that. The thing's already clean. Everything else looks good. So let's crack that thing out of there. So it's out of the case. Let's take a look at this corner here. See, the crunch extends into the book, but it's really not hard to fix. The inner pages, it's just time consuming, but I can do that no problem. I think what we'll do now is just the initial press just to see what comes out. It's hard to say whether there's a lot of color break there. It seems like there is. Almost certainly is, I think. Just how prominent will it be after the book is fixed? Because I've seen color break in that corner similar to this, still gotten a 9.6, and a little bit less, gotten a 9.8. But I think our target on this book is maybe cap of 9.4. It is a key, and I think it will grow in value over time. I think even a 9.4 will be something I'd be willing to bet that I'll be able to do okay if I just hang on to this book for a little while. And even though it probably wouldn't make dollar cents, you know, if I was just doing this for the money, I probably wouldn't have cracked this one. And, you know, but that's not what it's all about. The main reason I cracked this one is for you guys, so we can show you how to fix this corner crunch. And, you know, not being on a spine, you know, that's a whole different issue. This actually is not that hard, and I'm going to show you exactly how to fix it in this video. But the first thing we always do on a book is do that preliminary press for a couple hours. And just a standard press and then leave it in there for a couple hours is what I mean. You'd be surprised, you know, or maybe you wouldn't, on how much something like this can be improved. So before you start working on any major, moderate, or major defects on a book, you should always do that preliminary press, because, you know, why work on this when I could work on maybe something that's half as, you know, significant as this. You know, we don't have to overwork ourselves, right? You never know. This could come 80% out and the interior be completely gone after we press this. We just don't know till we put it through that initial press. So I'm going to go ahead and get it in there, and we'll see what it looks like here in a minute. So the preliminary press is over. It's time to take this book out and see what it looks like in here. I don't normally do this one-handed, but just to show what it looks like as it comes out, I'm going to be very careful here. And see what we got. Just going to slide this away here. You can see I call it a sandwich of different paper stocks on here. Yeah, see the corner crunch? You can kind of see in this lighting there's a little bit of color break there, so that's a little bit disappointing. But you can see that most of the crunch is gone. And so it'll be a good exercise to see what kind of grade we get with that kind of color break on it. So I'm going to move it over to the table here, and we'll take a closer look at the crunch, see if there's any interior, exterior work we need to do specifically on that. And once we clean that up, we'll put it in pretty much the final press. This is going to be an easy one. Okay, so we got it over here. Let's take a look inside. It has cleaned up the crunch quite a bit on the interior, but you can still see it's there. So what I'm going to do is just demonstrate real quick how to go about going through this book and taking care of all that. So let me, first thing you got to do is set it up correctly, but I'm going to hang this camera around my neck so I have use of both my hands. and we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so the first thing you do is as you work through the pages, you got to make sure that you protect behind whatever page you're working on. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. So what I do is I always have a bed of at least a couple backing boards for this process. Probably could get away with one, but I use two. I use three if I was going to do any ball bearing work, but we're not doing that. So let's say we're doing this first page right here. I throw this up underneath. Give us a nice stable platform to work with our tack iron. And then I take SRP paper. That's this stuff right here. Now if you want to find out where you get this for really cheap, just go to my website, improvecollecting.com. Tells you exactly where to get it. It's from Uline, and yeah, you get it. They come in much bigger sheets, and you cut them into sheets of 4. And then you get something like 1,000 big sheets, which turns into 4,000 sheets. So you get 4,000 of these for less, I believe, right at $100 or less. I'm not sure. So yeah, definitely don't use Teflon. Anything with a cross hatch design, yeah, don't do that. You'll get canvassing on your books. So yeah, so what I want to do is I want to put this up underneath. So I want to protect the back of this page as well. Because if you don't do this, you'll end up transferring the ink to the backing board if you're not careful. But if you put this here, it stops that from happening. So what I want to do at this point is I need to wet this area, spot wet it. So I have a Q-tip, and I have a saturated makeup pad here. So what I do is I just kind of squeeze a little bit of moisture into this Q-tip. You don't want it like dripping wet, but I do want to get this fairly saturated. And I'll put a little bit underneath first, just get started. But you do visibly want to see moisture on this, so I'll just roll it on there. And I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but there's definitely visibly moisture on that area. But we're going to dry that out really quickly. And so we take another piece of SRP paper. I usually use a smaller piece for on top, just easier to maneuver with. And then I'll take my tack iron immediately, put it on here, and with gentle pressure at first, a little circular motion. So basically I want to do this with increasing pressure until the wetness is gone underneath. Once the moisture is gone, we're done. Hopefully the defect will be gone as well. So I probably got a pressure of 5 or 6 here now. Circular motions. I do this for about 10 or 12 seconds. That generally is all it takes to dry out that moisture with this amount of heat. I think this tack iron is around 186 degrees Fahrenheit. And once again, this tack iron is hard to find. It's on back order a lot. But the link to the one I use is on my website as well, improvecollecting.com. So I think that's about right. That's probably longer than usual. So this should be completely dry, but see? No defect. Yep, that crunch is completely gone. And basically, you just rinse and repeat this process on every page in the book. And it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. I mean, you figure 15, 20 seconds setup, 10 seconds with a tack iron, 15, 20 seconds setup. I mean, you can fly through a book pretty quick. And on this one, I'll probably have to do both sides of the book. So you figure, you know, it's going to take you probably 15 or 20 minutes to go through the whole book, which really is not that significant. Yeah, once I get that done, there's really nothing else on this book. I mean, this book is flawless. There's nothing else on the book. No spine. There's one little spine tick, but no color break. But I'll take care of that with a tack iron here in a second. Back is flawless. Of course, the crunch on the back. The book was probably just dropped on this corner like this. So yeah, let me take care of all this. We'll get it in the final press. We'll take a look at it before we send it off to CGC, see the final product, put a ballpark grade on it, and see what we get back. Okay, so we're all done. Ready to get this thing shipped off to CGC. Yeah, it's flattened out. The corner crunch all the way through the book is nice and flat. You know, the color breaks, there's nothing we can do about, obviously. But, you know, this is the only defect on the whole book. Everything else is just absolutely flawless on this book. This is a 9.85, as I like to say otherwise. But I think this caps us at 9.0. That's my guess. That's what my grading tool says. And so we'll see what happens when it comes back. What does CGC say that this corner crunch, you know, will make the grade? All right, we got it all bagged up and boarded, ready to go off to CGC. Got it Got a bunch of other books we're going to send in with it as well. So hopefully we'll get this thing back 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks and see what kind of grade we can get on this thing. Okay, it's the moment of truth. The book is back from CGC. It only took 13 or 14 days total from the time it left my doorstep until the time it came back to my doorstep. So I'm really happy about the turnaround time. I had submitted it with, I think, 4 other books. And yeah, back really quickly. So disclaimer, I already have looked at the grade on this. I actually recorded this video prior, but while I was out of town, my phone went kaput. Lost everything. I mean, it was working fine 1 second, black the next. Took it to the shop, took it to the phone store, and they said it's just done. It's just dead, fried. Nothing they can do. So I lost about 10 or 12 videos that I had recorded, which is pretty unfortunate. Most of them I can re-record, but they just won't be the same, right? So yeah, I know what the grade is. And so what we were looking for here is a cap grade. I think my grading tool said 9.0. The spot-on grading tool also agreed and said 9.0. So that's what I'm expecting, 9.0. But what happened? You're not going to believe this. We got, somehow got a 9.8. I mean, this is in my favor, and I'm still having a lot of luck on this book, but this is a little bit ridiculous. So yeah, I've had some bad luck with CGC where they gave me purple labels, but I've also had some good luck with CGC where they give a 9.0 book at best, maybe 9.2 if you squeak it out. A 9.8. Now, I don't know what to think of this. Surely they saw that, right? Or was this a lazy grader? Did they just miss it? Because the book is a 9.8, it's practically a 9.9 otherwise. So the fact that it might be a 9.9 otherwise, having a moderate, I guess you could call it moderate defect like this, would make it a 9.8. Now, I've been surprised before. I had a, it's not here, but I do have the same book here. It's a Star Wars 81. If you remember correctly, if you've been watching for a while, it had a big giant impact right here on the spine, and that was it. And it got a 9.6, which is way higher than we expected. So maybe there's a thing. If it only has one defect, and it's a moderate defect, you can get a 9.6 or 9.8 with CGC. I'm going to assume. I mean, they are the experts, right? So, I mean, they went through quality control. Whatever they processed, they still gave this thing a 9.8. So we'll roll with it. We'll be happy this time. This makes up for those purple labels a little bit. Not completely, but a little bit. And actually, the video I recorded the prior time for this unboxing or whatever, I hadn't even unboxed the purple label ones, but this is the day before I'm going live with this video, and I'm frantically recording this. I just got out of the shower. I normally wouldn't be recording videos today, but I just had to get this one done for tomorrow. So now I know about it. So yeah, this turned this in, I think I paid $60. And now it's like a $300 book. I'll put the number on the screen if I can look it up, see what it is. But yeah, we'll go with the 9.8. Why not? I'm kind of like, should I be happy about this? I mean, I guess I should be happy about this. But then again, I think it's a 9.2 or 9.0 in a 9.8 slab, in my opinion. Does that bother you like it bothers me? Am I weird for that to bother me? I don't know, man. Obviously, somebody buying this book, when they see the picture, they're going to see this. It's going to show up in the picture. I'm going to make sure it does if I sell this book. I might hold on to it because I think this book's going to go up in value. But yeah, I mean, if you've already looked at this book, obviously. It's just like flawless otherwise. It's just got that. Let me see if I can get it in the picture. And right there is the defect. I don't know if it's going to show up, but it's right there. You've seen it. Yeah, I mean, you just watched this video, right? But you got to realize this is like 4 weeks ago for me. So, yeah. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.